You're on a survey for the railroad. You enter a remote section of the Mojave, and there you find a dead body, and then another, and then 30 all together. And did I say they were naked? Like the sea, the Mojave sometimes gives up its dead. Numerous bodies have been found, and often without any explanation as to how they got there. And sometimes you come across a case that just makes you wonder what the hell was going on. In 1904, an article ran in the prestigious Los Angeles Herald that would make anyone sit up and take notice, no matter when it was published. The bodies of 30 dead men were discovered in a remote part of the Great Mojave Desert up in Nevada, just across the border from California. Apparently, a party of hardy surveyors had set out from Los Angeles with the task of plotting a new route for the San Pedro, Los Angeles, and Salt Lake Railroad. When upon entering a long, desolate stretch of the Mojave, they came across the gruesome remains of 30 adult men. They appeared to have died in the last few weeks, and at first glance, appeared to have either perished from the intense heat or lack of water. Some had been ripped by desert predators. But there was one very puzzling aspect about the bodies. Most of the men were completely nude and without any trace of boots or clothing. What would make a man venture out into one of the harshest places on earth without any clothing or supplies? Immediately, a surplus of theories and strange stories began making the rounds. They were tramps and railroad vagrants who had attempted to cross the desert in search of work. But as the railroad hadn't even been built in that area yet, this theory was tenuous at best. Some postulated that a tribe of renegade Indians and outlaws had captured a mining party and killed them by forcing them to run naked through the burning landscape. But no mining company reported the loss of 30 men. Other theories ran the gamut from a secret satanic cult being at work, having first kidnapped and then murdered the men in some strange ceremony, to outlandish stories of deadly desert vortexes or old Spanish gold mines that had been cursed by witchcraft and devilry. It was a strange tale, to say the least. If you've ever been out in that part of the desert, you know how brutal it can be. As a matter of fact, that's the area that Google stuck its solar farm because the sun is so unrelenting. And to be out there in a group, trudging around and naked, it just doesn't make sense. From the article I found while looking through the archives, the most accepted theory was that the men had become lost in the desert and simply died from exposure. And it was reasoned that in their madness and suffering, they had taken off their clothes in the intense heat and wandered around nude in a stupor before collapsing in groups and dying. There supposedly was also a waterhole in the area, known to the locals as Dead Man's Well, which contained poisoned water, and it was speculated that many of the men had drank from it and subsequently perished, but nothing was ever proven. And predictably, after a few weeks, the story was forgotten and life went on. In the end, the only thing for certain was that the Great Mojave once again hid the chilling secret as to what had happened to 30 human souls. I guess to me, my biggest question would be why the men were out there in the first place. It's one of the hottest spots in the Mojave, and to be trudging around in a group just doesn't make sense. And to end up naked and dead? Well, poisonous water, weird vortex, outlaws, or something else altogether. Just another Mojave mystery. I'm Behrman, and I'll see you next time.